Mailbag time here on the Cleveland Browns Report. First question coming in via Super Chat from our live show on Tuesday. Joshua Miller asking, QBs have 10 touchdowns to 17 turnovers, and the team has 21 touchdowns to 23 turnovers. I don't think the QB play could get much worse, so go with Flacco and see what he's got. Well, like I said, we're filming on Tuesday, so by the time you're watching this, you might already know who's the starting quarterback, but this is a good just statement altogether. The Browns quarterback room has not produced great numbers top to bottom. 10 touchdowns to 17 turnovers. Deshaun Watson was definitely getting into a groove right before his injury both times, unfortunately, which is just terrible timing, and it sucks, and it's just really unlucky. But you're right, Josh. The quarterback room has to pick it up, and I think this is a bigger testament that Kevin Stefanski is coaching out of his mind right now. Most of the coaches with these types of numbers would be 4-7, not 7-4. So I think there is just and this is me just going on my diatribe right now, there is just a faction of the fan base that has been taught Browns mean bad coaches. Hate bad coach. When you've got a good coach, you don't have to hate him. And the Browns are 7-4 right now. They do not have a bad coach. Jacob Kistner, next one up. I thought the defense was supposed to travel. Browns at home giving up 10.2 points per game. Browns defense on the road giving up 29.6 points per game. I think that 29 is probably a little bit lower when you take out the scores from the opposing defenses like the Steelers game and the safety against the Broncos. But still, even if that 29.6 goes down to like 20, that's still double the points, and that's a huge jump. I don't think this is the Browns defense sucks on the road. I think it is opposing offenses are better at their home field compared to playing off the shores of Lake Erie with a million barking Buckeyes around them for 60 minutes. So it's definitely a big testament to how great Browns fans are at home and how hostile of an environment it is for Joe Burrow and Ryan Tannehill and Brock Purdy, who ran through the Browns' defensive gauntlet early on. And unfortunately, when those quarterbacks are playing at home, it's a little bit easier for them, not going up against the Browns' defense and the Browns fan base. But still, there is an improvement that has to be made by the Browns defense on the road. I think another element is, for whatever reason, the tackling on the road. Like the Colts game comes to mind, just some bad tackling altogether. That has to get cleaned up, and I'm sure Jim Schwartz could give you a much better answer as to why the defense kind of falls off on the road, but there is definitely a pattern here, Jacob. Ken G, next one up, got to go with a veteran QB. If we're talking QBs here between Joe Flacco and PJ Walker, if DTR cannot go, and maybe this all gets dated, I would go with Joe Flacco. For starters, PJ Walker has not been good this year. The Browns are lucky to have wins with the play that PJ Walker has given us. So I don't think it can get any worse than PJ Walker, so you might as well try out Joe Flacco and see what he can do. He had a great connection with Elijah Moore last year, so they can pick up where they left off, and hopefully Amari Cooper can get back to 100% soon. But yes, I would go with Joe Flacco over PJ Walker without a doubt. But pick a QB for me, Joe Flacco or PJ Walker. Let me know down below in the comment section if you were to pick one of these two guys, if DTR cannot play, who you would pick. Next one coming in from Joshua Miller again. Will JOK be our MVP the second half of the season? JOK played the best game of his NFL career, I would say, in the Week 12 matchup in Denver. He led the team with, 12 tackles, a sack, a forced fumble. He was doing everything. So JOK, I don't know if I can say he'll be the second half MVP, although he's definitely trending in that way after the Broncos game. Other guys that come to mind, Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett can be the MVP of the first and the second half. He's on track to win Defensive Player of the Year in my eyes. Grant Delpit had a really strong start to the year, and he has not cooled off, but I think we just gotten used to, Grant Delpit is a Pro Bowl caliber player. So every single week he goes out there and plays like a Pro Bowler. We just sort of get more and more used to it, but he has been phenomenal. I'll also toss in Denzel Ward if he's able to get back and stay healthy. He has played the best football of his NFL career. But Josh, I think you're on the right track of JOK as a potential sleeper for the MVP of the second half on the defensive side for sure, and actually probably the offensive side too. Now, today's show was made possible thanks to our brand new awesome sponsor, Factor. This holiday season, you might be looking for nutritious, convenient meals to keep you energized on jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service, can help you fuel up fast for breakfast, lunch, and dinner with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle while tracking all your holiday to-dos. So when you're too busy running around to plan lunch, Factor has you covered with lunch to go. Effortless, wholesome meals like grain bowls and salad toppers that are ready to eat when you're out on the go. No microwave required. Head to factormeals.com/BrownsChat50 and use code BrownsChat50 to get 50% off. That's code BrownsChat50 at factormeals.com/BrownsChat50 for 50% off your order. That information is in the comments and description of today's video. AFX Apocalypse saying, get Cedric Tillman more involved. Cedric Tillman had the best game of his young NFL career against the Broncos. 4 grabs, 55 yards. He was really starting to get into a rhythm with his rookie QB, fellow rookie, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, a pair of Bishop Gorman alums. But AFX, as long as Cedric Tillman and DTR are in the field, I'm optimistic that connection will continue to grow. Hopefully DTR can clear concussion protocol and the Browns can make the best decision possible at quarterback. But I am optimistic that Tillman can come on here in the second half of the year, especially with Amari Cooper playing through what I'm going to deem a probably somewhat serious rib injury. But the guy's an Iron Man. He doesn't miss games. He doesn't miss snaps hardly. So hopefully Tillman can, kick it up a notch here in the final third of the year. Kistner, what's going on, dude? What was the bigger head turn? Joe Hayden in a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform, or Jamal Lewis in a Browns uniform, or Joe Flacco in a Browns uniform? I'm going to power rank these. Now, obviously, I'm doing this from a Browns lens. Actually, let me do it from just an NFL lens. Take the bias out. I would say number 1 is Joe Flacco in a Browns uniform. Like, just quarterbacks get more attention. Number 2, I would say, is Jamal Lewis in a Browns uniform. A 2K rusher for the Ravens, and he goes over to Cleveland. That's obviously going to piss off Ravens fans. And then I'll go with Joe Hayden in a Steelers uniform. There's no real... I don't have major bad blood towards Hayden. I wish the Browns did him better and held on to him instead of letting him walk, but it's not like Joe Hayden had a vendetta against Cleveland. So I would say those are my rankings for those 3, Jacob. Good question, though. Christopher, what's going on? Do you think the Browns' offensive play calling is getting too random and using too many trick plays? I feel like when you have the backup quarterback in, you do get some more trick plays and a lot of creativity. The funny thing is when those trick plays work, like, everyone's cheering for Stefanski. Like, DTR's first career touchdown pass wasn't on a trick play, but it was on a play that we had never seen before. And that was having Jerome Ford, or running back, whether Ford or Hunt, I can't remember, Nick Harris and Harrison Bryant in the backfield. I think it was Kareem Hunt. Hunt, Harris, and Bryant, in the backfield. And then Bryant slipped out in front of the other 2 guys, wide open for a touchdown. So I do feel that maybe once or twice Stefanski gets a bit too cute with it. But in Stefanski's defense, he's got to get creative. Like, he's got to back up QB, and he's got to get some misdirection going. He's got to get the linebackers going one way and have the ball go the other way. If he just plays mano-a-mano and just our guys against your guys, when you have some mismatches and they favor the defense, as in a backup QB against veteran linebackers and veteran corners, over the course of 60 minutes, it's going to go into the veterans' favor, being the defense in this case. So I don't necessarily hate the trick plays. I think maybe there is 1 or 2 occasions where maybe he goes too far with it, but I'd rather that happen than have it be a super vanilla offense. And it's like the Pittsburgh Steelers offense, and it's Matt Canada. We're begging to get some creativity going, some motion going. So if the price of getting too cutesy with it is 1 or 2 many play calls like that, so be it. I'd rather have an over dramatic offense with 1 or 2 trick plays too many, rather than an offense that's just like Wonder Bread. Max T, what's going on, dude? If January Joe takes us on a playoff run, will you get a Flacco jersey? Also, Joel is watching at his shop right now. Hi, Dad. We got the father-son duo here, Max and Joel Thompson. Joe Flacco. I'll tell you this much. If I was in college right now, without a doubt, because a Joe Flacco Browns Darty jersey, it would be with Vince Carter on the Raptors. It would be with Jackie Moon on the Tropics, which I didn't have a Kitis on the Tropics. But no, I can't actually spend $100+ of my hard-earned money on a Joe Flacco Browns jersey. If I could get another jersey, it would be a Denzel Ward on the road, a white jersey. That would be my jersey of choice. But Max, I love the creativity. And if you're in college right now, you should absolutely get a Joe Flacco Browns jersey if January Joe takes us even to the AFC Championship game. Even if he just wins one playoff game. Streets to land, Cam Newton. No. Cam Newton did list Deshaun Watson as a quarterback he'd want to be a backup for. There is a tough conversation that needs to be had with Cam, and that is he is no longer an NFL quarterback. It's sad. The injuries really got to him at the end of his time in Carolina, or the end of his first stint in Carolina. But no, I am passing on Cam Newton. Cool guy, what's going on? Well, since this year is pretty much over after we go to the playoffs, next year is something to look at still. Do you think that next year we have an actual chance with no injuries, hopefully? Cool guy, let me run through all 22 starters really quickly and talk about who's returning, okay? Let's start on offense. From the running back up, Nick Chubb is under contract. Now, when he's able to return is a different question. But Nick Chubb, as of right now, is under contract, and he would be returning. Watson, of course, Jed Wills, Teller, Bertonio, Posick, Teller, Conklin / DeJuan Jones. The Browns have a good problem on their hand. They've got 3 starting tackles. I don't know what they're going to do, but they got 3. Wide receivers, Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore and Cedric Tillman are all under contract. Those are good starting pieces that you can still add to, okay? Defensive side of the football now. Start at the D-line. Myles Garrett is under contract. Dalvin Tomlinson is under contract. Jordan Elliott, Maurice Hurst, and Shelby Harris are all on one-year deals. Maybe the Browns bring back one of those guys, probably Elliott or Hurst, but I could still see them keeping a really good defensive line intact. Darius Smith is on a one-year deal. I could see the Browns looking to bring him back. They brought Clowney back for a second year. I could definitely see Darius Smith wanting to stay in Cleveland and play opposite of Myles Garrett. Linebackers is interesting. JOK is the only one under contract. Taki, Walker on one-year deals. Maybe they run it back with Walker again. I'm not quite sure. But the linebacker room might go under a big turnover. Corners, Newsome, Ward, Emerson, all under contract. Safeties, Thornhill under contract. Delpit, I wish they extended him yesterday. Grant Delpit has to be a cornerstone piece on this defense for the next 4 to 5 seasons, if not longer. So, for the most part, the Browns are keeping the band together. Now, what they are missing, though, is still a first-round draft pick. And so that second-round pick, if they do end up holding on to it, that might be an impact player. That might be a guy who comes in and he starts day one, whether it's used at wide receiver, whether it's used at linebacker. If they end up losing Delpit in free agency, it could be a Grant Delpit replacement. But, cool guy, in a long-winded answer, do I think they have an actual chance? Yes. They are keeping a lot of these key pieces together. The Browns definitely went all chips in on this year, but they still have another bag of chips. It's a pretty awesome poker table, right? It's a really rare poker table where it's like that movie, I can't remember what it's called, where they just keep putting all their money in and then they go to the lady in the hotel room and ask for more money. I can't remember what that movie is called, but it's based on a real-life story in L.A. Whatever. Horrible movie description right there. But, yes, the Browns do have an actual chance. Okay. I just blundered that movie description. But someone watching right now is like, I know what he's talking about. This is the movie. And the title is just escaping me at the moment. So that's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning into our mailbag. If you enjoyed our content and my awful movie descriptions, consider subscribing. We're going to keep you guys informed and entertained all season long.